Hey guys, so I'm doing a review on Red Hood and the Outlaws issue 19. I bought this for $2.99 at my local comic book shop. So in this issue they changed both the artist and the writer, I believe, and I heard very mixed reviews on it. So I'm going to get right into that. As always, the first part of the review will be 100% spoiler free, and I'll warn you guys before I start spoiling anything within the issue. I'm not going to spoil a lot this issue, but I am going to, not the stuff that happens, I'm spoiling kind of the end because I want to touch a bit on it. But yeah, okay, so let's get right into it. First off, I'm really sorry I'm getting this up so late. I'm getting this up so late, and I have tons of others I still need to get up, but I'm really sorry, you guys. I really haven't been feeling well lately. I know I say that in almost every video, but I'm waiting for a call back from our pain clinic. I've been waiting for a while, and it's just been a really rough go, and it's been hard to put up videos, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'm really happy to be doing this one right now. So let's get right into my overall opinion of it, which is, well, first off, let me show you guys the cover, as always. And I'm not going to fold out the cover because that can contain a spoiler, so all I'm going to say is it says, if there's a future for Jason Todd, ... So overall, I liked this comic. It wasn't my favorite comic of the month, and it wasn't the best comic I've ever read, obviously, but it was an interesting story. It was an interesting take. You could tell the writer had changed, obviously, since it's a new writer, but it was an interesting story. It did hold my attention to it. I wasn't distracted. I didn't continuously keep putting it down. I was into the story, and I was interested to see what happens, and even though the storyline, the arc that this is going to be going into kind of has me going, what the heck, and when is this going to end? It's not going to keep me from buying every single comic that's in the arc, and I have no, hesitation to buy the next comic that comes out of it, and I'm genuinely interested to see where it goes. So it's not like an arc I dislike to the point I'm going to stop buying it. It's an arc that, I'm kind of like, I have to see what happens next. So that being said, I did enjoy this, and I do recommend buying it because I think it's a good time probably to jump on Red Hood and the Outlaws 2 since it is a new story arc, and it was interesting. The art was good. I liked the art. A lot of people were complaining about the way Starfire was drawn. I was iffy about the way she was drawn, but overall I thought it was a pretty solid issue. It's definitely not the follow-up you were expecting, or I was expecting at least, to last issue. I expected something totally different than this. That's not a bad thing. It totally threw me for a loop. I was surprised as heck with what happened in this. I was not in a million years thinking they were going to go in this direction. So kudos for that. Is it an amazing comic? No, but is it really good? Do I think it's a pretty good comic? Yeah, and I think it's a good time to jump on. It's going to be a fun storyline, I think. So that's my overall opinion. I definitely think it's worth getting. I don't at all regret purchasing it. As you can tell, I'm kind of in between because I don't hate it. I don't absolutely love it. I like it. So that's my overall opinion. I'll give you guys a chance to X out before I spoil it. So, yeah. So that should be long enough. It's time to fold out the cover, and if there's a future for Jason Todd, he'll have to erase his past. Okay, so let's get into this. This whole issue, well, it starts out with a Jason scene, and apparently we're going to find out, I'm not going to touch on that opening scene, but apparently we're going to find out more about it in Batman and Red Hood issue 20, which would be Batman and Robin issue 20, but Red Hood's going to be in it. Like last issue is Batman and Red Robin, so that should be an interesting issue. Going to pick that up as soon as it comes out to do a review for you guys. I need to have someone hold it for me at the comic shop because the Batman and Robin issues have been getting sold out, so I'll have to ask them to hold it for me so I can get it the day it comes out. And the whole issue is pretty much Ryan Starfire searching for Jason, and Roy is he wants to find him so badly. Jason's his best friend, and he's really he gets ill. He almost, massive spoiler, he almost dies, and he has probably the most emotional scenes in the comic. this comic, I expected it to focus more on Jason. It's definitely focusing more on Roy, I think, than Jason. It's definitely interesting. You get really into his head, and I have no complaints about that. I found it super interesting, and you see a lot of friendship. It's a good character interaction between him, Starfire. So I love character interaction. I don't know, I just really like it, seeing how characters interact, especially with a new writer, because a new writer can change everything. Like, the whole direction, all the characters, they have the power to change pretty much everything about it. Like, a new writer could pretty much turn Robin into Superman, I don't know. But, so it's always interesting to see how the characters are going to be written, and if they're going to be written that much drastically different. I wouldn't call it drastically different. You can tell it's a new writer, because it is a new writer. And it really gets inside his head. Like I said, I'm not going to touch too much on spoilers. And they do end up finding Jason in a way. They find Jason, who has, massive spoiler, this is the end of the comic, no idea who he is, no idea who they are. He saves them from getting attacked, and they're pissed at first because he says how he doesn't know them and they should just get out of there. And then they turn concerned. Like, he says, Jason, look at me. Jason says, hey. And he asks Jason to tell him what his name is. And Jason says he doesn't know what his name is. And he says, this isn't funny, Jason. No, this isn't even a little bit funny. And he says, why do you two keep calling me that? And he goes, that's your name. Your name is Jason Todd. And Jason says, yes, the little man said something like that, didn't he? And Starfire asks who did this. And if you could tell by the folded out cover, it's probably pretty obvious. Jason goes to him and asks him pretty much to erase everything the darkness touches. And while he doesn't want to do that, he eventually does what Jason asks. But apparently, he just takes it all. And that's the end of the comic. So, this storyline is pretty much, I think, going to be Jason with major amnesia. Because Jason he was at wit's end in a way, because I need to read you this piece of dialogue. Not only did the Joker almost take my face, but he tells me he might have manipulated my entire life from the beginning. Even the good is tainted by him now. So pretty much, to take away everything the darkness touches, if everything is tainted to Jason and everything's like, what's the phrase? If everything is covered in, some people say covered in red, like blood in a way, I don't know. Is that a phrase I've only heard a few people use? I don't know. But if everything is touched by darkness, if you go to remove the darkness, you're left with nothing, not even your name. So, super interesting, super different direction than I thought it would go in. So, I actually found it interesting. Do I think the storyline, the arc might have been going, oh gosh, maybe, but I'm interested to see where it goes. I thought it was an interesting issue to get inside the character's head, and you just see how much they love Jason. Jason is really and truly their friend, their best friend. So, yeah, I'd recommend picking this up. Like, if you got, it is a different kind of, you get a different feel than you got when reading the other Red Hood and the Outlaws, which you get when you switch story writers on a comic. You sometimes get a different feel of it. I personally still really like this and want to see where it's going, so I'm interested to see what happens next. Some of the dialogue, what I thought was a bit off, but most of it I actually thought was pretty funny. Like, Roy to them when they ask if they are American superheroes, that, what is it he called them? Helpful townsfolk? He says, of course we are big American superheroes. We're here to find the dastardly villain who caused this mess. And then there was also a line from Starfire that cracked me up where she says, she couldn't see anything notable from miles, but it's almost impossible to navigate the hills. And Roy tells her how these are the tallest mountains on Earth. And she goes, really? How sad. I don't know why. That had me cracking up. So I thought the dialogue was, at some points, like, funny. So I always enjoy something that can give you a little bit of comic relief. So I enjoyed this. I'd recommend picking it up, and that is my review, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much. I've written down every comic you guys have recommended. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing if you have. I hope you guys have a fantastic day and read tons of comic books, kids. That is the moral of the story.